think you were writing for the Sun initially, correct?
Yeah, I was first. Well, I wasn't writing for anybody. I was just writing on Facebook, and then the Sun approached me. Tanny McLean approached me. Next month will be 4 years exactly.
Wow. And I remember reading some of his stuff and, didn't always agree. In the early days, I remember I didn't, I was like, who's this guy? And then I started following him on Facebook, some of the conversations he had on Facebook, and I noticed an incredible honesty
Mm.
from in Chris's conversations. And I realized this was a man that evolved. This is a guy who, I'm not comparing you to Malcolm X, but Malcolm X was one of those guys who realized that, okay, a position I took, my whole life, and I staked my life on this, may have been, maybe the wrong position, and he went public with it. And I started realizing his evolution in his thinking, and I was like, those are the kinds of thinkers we need in this country that will be honest enough to say, I spoke, and I you know what? One of the things I realized about Chris is that he was talking to people. We never even knew each other.
Yeah.
Okay, but when we actually met, within 2 weeks, he came to my house and he brought, what was it you brought? You still got to bring some more. Actually.
It was some rum cake.
Yeah, he bought he brought some rum cake.
He bought rum cake. He hasn't bought any rum cake up here. What deal?
No drinking on the job.
Drinking on the job. Sometimes you need a little toddy.
Yeah, and
10:05.
and Suzanne made something, and we reasoned, we reasoned over, maybe 2 to 3 hours over a nice meal, a couple of drinks, and that's how we get to resolve situations in this country. You get to know each other. Do you know what I mean? And to me, that's a hallmark of a good journalist. You don't understand the situation. You need to spend the time and work it out. Do you know what I mean? And so my respect for Chris is beyond measure. He's a columnist. I'm not. I do not write that many opinion columns. But the one who can churn out well thought out opinions, even if you don't agree, you know that he's coming with something to make you think.
Yeah.
And that's fundamental to a progressive society. So I just want to say, man, I don't think I've ever told him this, So I think I need to say it. I need to say it publicly,
Well, thank you for that. I think, as Mr. Swan said, it's reflective of society. We've all evolved. Like 4 years ago, you were at the Royal Gazette.
Yeah.
4 years ago, he was a UBP MP, not a radio host.
I'm sure he wants to be reminded.
The remaining two, because all the others went and created something totally new that reflects something
They evolved as well, but
they evolved into what they were before.
they metamorphosized. But the point I'm getting at is us as Bermudians we constantly evolve. Are we evolving for the better? I mean, I have zero formal training in journalism.
Right.
I started off just writing on Facebook and then evolved to Bermuda Sun, Royal Gazette, Bermuda, Today in Bermuda. I've had to moderate some things that I say because not because I have changed my beliefs, but it's just like batting, right? If you're a batsman and you start slapping it all over the place, sooner or later you're gonna get caught.
Don't remind me of cop match.
I never said who, right?
Well, I know.
Well, let's talk about Conti again. So you find there's openings where you gotta just tap it there, take one run. Occasionally you slap it to the boundary.
Yeah.
Sometimes you slap it to a six, but that's the mark of a good batsman, knowing when to hurl it, when to further, right? Mm-hmm. So in this thing called journalism, or I'm trying to evolve into more investigative journalism, is that, you could have your opinion.
Yeah.
Anybody could spout their opinion, but how much of that is factual? And one thing I learned from Io is that, especially with the Jackgate story, that if a story takes you 2 years to get all the facts, wait. There's 2 years until you put your story out in public. Because when you put it out, you don't want anyone to be able to say,
can't touch it, man.
Io lied. I sat there in the House of Assembly, and when I saw the Minister of Finance call Io a liar. I listened on the radio when I heard then Minister Wayne Scott say he was getting paid by the PLP. Right? And I knew all of this was true. PLP didn't have that type of money, right? I didn't say they didn't have no money, but didn't have that type of money.
They definitely don't have that kind of money to buy me.
Right? And, you know...
OBA ain't got that money.
Trump might have the money. But, you know, it took the guy, Danny McDonald, what's his name? It took the Bermuda Sun to do a story to verify
Tony McDonald.
what Io had put out there anyway.
Then it became truth.
Right.
There you go. What's that about?
Then it became truth.
What's that about?
Once you had the picture of Landau saying, we sent the money, all else, you know, Io was now the zero, right?
Yeah.
But
there was nothing new in that story, though.
right.
Nothing I hadn't said. Yeah.
My point is that it even goes back to the Troika situation.
Yeah.
Once Bermudians are given that chance, whether it be at Belco, whether it be on the stage, whether it be in journalism, there's going to be, nobody was born knowing anything, right? You know how to eat, and you know how to human bodily functions. There's anything you know. Apart from that, it's things that people have taught. So I look at persons like Io, Tom Veazey, John Barrett, Gary Moreno, Tarai Trott, Carla, Ciela Wilson. All of those persons, I may not be around them all the time, but I sit up and I study their work, right? Maybe a little WhatsApp here and there, but I look at them as people that have set a standard for Bermudian journalism. Even yourself, Mr. Swan, right? You look at you first start learning under was it Sherry?
Well, Nikita and Glenn Blakeney first taught me here at Hot 107.5, and then he put me with Nikita and Sherry.
Right. So the point I'm getting at is that back to even something Ciela said, right? Or I should say Miss Wilson, because she don't know me like that. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is when we as Bermudians, right?
Go caller.
We have to come out of that mindset that the colonial people have given us, that we have to close the door for anybody else coming behind us, because that would knock us out of the way. The more people that we take and train in whatever field, it expands the opportunities for Bermudians on a hill. So Io wants to always hire journalists, but not getting the financial support to do so. But I'm sure that, you know, someone serious, Io would take them on this being anyway.
Oh, I do all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So this goes back to what Miss Wilson is saying, that we have to look out for each other, right? And totally forget about those that don't have anything for us.
Okay. I just want to go, before I go to the phone lines, caller, are you there, caller? Okay, can you hold just a minute longer? I want to make mention of a concert in honor of grandparents that's being put on by Sister Hope Lowe, and it's going to be on September 10th at 6 p.m. and it's going to be at St. Paul's. And anyone in the East End, if you don't know who Sister Hope Lowe is, pick up your phone and dial 297 anything, and I'm trying to get her by Sister Hope Lowe. 297, and you put any 4 digits after that, and somebody on a 297 would know how to get a hold by Sister Hope Lowe. And she's putting on, it's $20, and we want that event to be heavily supported. She does great work in the community, and my wife and I are going to be making a donation to support that that event and what Sister Hope Lowe continues to do in the community. Her late husband, my good friend, Reverend Larry Lowe, also did great work. And kudos to her family out there playing cricket, the youngsters, my good friends out there, and her nephews and so.